Headline Hollywood. Entertainment cronies and cinema elitists hand out awards for excellence in moving pictures. Sometimes the winners don't hold up to the test of time, so we're here in the future to tell them how they got it wrong. This is Switch the Envelope.
Corey, I still love this intro after all these years.
Oh, it's such a good intro. Welcome to Switch the Envelope, the podcast that aims at rewriting Hollywood history. My name is Corey.
And my name is Jeff.
Jeff, we are on the precipice of 100 episodes.
Yes, we are. But we're not there yet.
No. Our next episode will be episode 100.
Yes, right now we are on episode 99.
It is, it's incredible that we are able to hit this milestone of 100 episodes, and I cannot wait to do 100 more, Jeff.
Me either, Corey.
To celebrate our 100th episode, we are taking a trip down memory lane, a little Be Kind Rewind here on Switch the Envelope, where we're going to be listening to some of our favorite moments over the last 99 or 98 episodes, I guess, where we've interviewed some of our favorite guests.
And we've had a lot of real great episodes, and so we're going to share them with you. We've handpicked them, hand-selected them, and got them ready to put them out there to the world.
Some of our favorite moments with some of our favorite people.
Corey, speaking of episodes, what kind of episodes are you watching on Netflix?
Well,
or Hulu, or Disney Plus, or
I just discovered the show The Other Two on HBO Max, and
The Other Two
on HBO Max. It's a comedy, half an hour comedy about two siblings who are sort of failures in life.
Nice.
And they have a younger brother who becomes a pop sensation, and they are the other two kids in the family.
Gotcha. Kind of a Stefani family kind of a situation.
A little bit. Yeah, a little bit.
Gotcha.
This is a show about Eric, not about Gwen.
Sorry, Eric.
Yeah. Look, he was an animator on The Simpsons. He's fine.
He's fine.
What are you watching, Jeff?
I'm starting to get into the show You. Everyone said it's fantastic.
You is fantastic, yeah.
So I'm starting to get into that. But you know, Corey, there is one show on Netflix that I heard was fantastic.
Oh, there was a show
called Never Have I Ever.
It's a great show.
And I had never watched that until we had one of the stars of that show.
That's right.
On our show.
And he was a fantastic guest. We had a lot of fun talking to him about his time on Never Have I Ever and some of his other acting roles. And so here's a clip of our interview with Jack Seaver McDonald. He is a talented comedic actor who plays the recurring character of Eric Perkins on the hit Netflix show Never Have I Ever. Switches, please welcome Jack Seaver McDonald.
Hey.
How you doing tonight, Jack?
I'm doing good. I'm doing real good. Thank you so much for having me.
Thanks for coming on. Thanks for
coming on.
So how fun is it to be like a recurring character on a TV show?
Oh, it's incredibly fun. I mean, it's the dream to be asked back on a show and not just have like a one-day part. But, you know, I'm so incredibly lucky that I got to do it on this show because, I mean, this season, even with all the, restrictions and trying to be safe with COVID, the cast and crew, they're all honestly really, really nice, fun people, like from the crew, grips and camera people to the leads and background people. It really is just like going to a summer camp. It's so much fun.
That's awesome. I feel like that starts at the top with like Mindy Kaling.
She definitely cares and like has spent a lot of time with the lead of the show, Maitrey.
Sure.
And they've developed a really strong friendship and sort of mentorship, it seems like.
Yeah, it's a really cool show. Like I was before before I was told that you were a prospective guest on the show. I'd actually started watching the show. It's one of those where like I find it because I was like, I've heard a lot about this show. I think it was even prior to season 2 being released when I actually started it, and I realized that somebody had already watched it, and I was like, who watched this show? on my Netflix. And it turns out my wife had watched it like when it first aired like a year ago or whatever. And I was like,
yeah.
you just secretly watched this show and left me completely out of it.
That first season, I only knew the scenes that I was in. So I was also just as charmed by the rest of the show when I got to finally watch it when it came out. And gosh, the heart in this show is so well written, and there's not a single like over the top or cheesy heart. You know what I mean? It's all very authentic and like relatable topics like grief and anger, and it's a great show, even the parts I'm not in.
Jack, speaking of your craft, how long have you been doing this?
I've enjoyed acting pretty much my whole life, but I joined SAG in 2017 after doing a bunch of background acting.
And what was your entrance to that? How'd you get started with it officially?
Did you guys ever hear of the movie Fighting with My Family with Florence Pugh? And
yeah,
I did a background part on that ended up getting cut, but because it was like a SAG voucher on a movie, that sort of Taft-Hartley'd me in and helped make me eligible.
Right.
So then I was so graciously allowed to pay the exuberant entrance fee into SAG.
Thank you for letting me pay all this money to be in your organization.
Did you get like a free Apple TV or something? Like I heard they give gifts. In some
not for me. No, I didn't get any sort of extra.
You got to call your rep.
Yeah, but I think the most famous actors of all time all have that story of getting their first real part and then that scene getting cut and end up on the editing room floor.
Oh, yeah.
Well, Corey, that was a fantastic interview with Jack Seaver McDonald. I hope everybody goes back and listens to the whole thing, yeah?
Absolutely. Yes.
Speaking of great interviews, this next one, greatest voice in podcasting.
Yes, he is the best voice in podcasting. And honestly, like from the previous interview, we became fans of Jack Seaver McDonald and his show. But this next guest that we had, we were already fans before we got him on our show. And it was a huge honor to sit down and talk with Adam Roach from The Secret History of Hollywood and the Attaboy Clarence podcast. And it was a dream come true for me, Jeff. I don't know about you.
It was great, Corey. He knows so much about the golden age of Hollywood. He is one of those people you just want to sit down and listen to.
He's eloquent.
and when I say I want to sit down and listen to him, I mean this guy's voice is amazing.
Yeah. I could hear him read the phone book.
Yeah, so we hope everybody enjoys this interview as much as we did.
So here's a snippet of our interview with the impeccable Adam Roach. Switches, please welcome to the show, Adam Roach.
My pleasure to be here. Lovely to meet you both. How are you?
It is an honor to have you, sir.
Definitely. Honor to have you.
Honor to be here. Thank you very much for having me.
We are pleased. You are a bit of a indie podcast inspiration, I think, where, you sort of like looking at your journey of podcasting. It was like day job with a podcast. Then you crowdfunded your way into doing podcasting as a career, correct?
Yeah.
And now you are a film producer, actually going to create films from the podcast that you created in, your living room. That's quite an incredible journey that you've been on.
It's insane, really. Yeah. I mean, I remember like my working days used to be like 22 hours long because I was working as a chef, which, isn't the most forgiving job in terms of time. You'd start early in the morning, have like a couple of hours off in the afternoon, and then you'd finish really late at night. And then I'd go home and have to write, Alfred Hitchcock's life story and try and get it recorded and source music. And then I was researching for Warner Brothers story and everything. And yeah, it was like 3 years of just, oh God, the work I put into everything. I was working while I was at work. I was, taking a break and reading something up. So yeah, I mean, now, yeah, I'm kind of living the dream, really. It's amazing. It really is. I don't understand how it's happened.
That's awesome.
Lots of smiling in the Roach household these days, I'm sure. Yeah. The work is paid off. It's an immense amount of work. That is enjoyed very much, especially on this end of the Zoom call.
If I can piggyback off what Corey was saying over here, because we are fans of your podcast, we listen to it. You put up
hours and hours,
12-hour podcast on Cary Grant. And like, how do you do the research for a 12-hour podcast?
Well, it's like everyone goes, "Oh, why did you write it to be 12 hours?" And it was like, I didn't really set out to do that. I just, when I was coming up with the format for Cary Grant, I was going to do 3 parts. It was going to be, early life. Then the second part was going to be the career. And then the third part was going to be what happened afterwards. And the career stuff, when it comes to Cary Grant, is surprisingly light. I mean, he just basically existed in Hollywood, didn't really live the life of a celebrity, and starred in movies, basically. Just became incredibly good at keeping himself to himself. So if you actually broke the story down, part 1, his early life before Hollywood, would probably be about 50% of the story. His movie career is about 10% of the story. And then what happened afterwards is about 40% of the story. So there had to be a way of sort of balancing the parts. So in this series, I'm going between times. I'm going between his early life and the career and the modernish day, the 80s, the sort of end of his life. Mm-hmm. And it got to the point where I need to start the story when he was born, obviously. And I want to write up to the point at the end of part 1 where he finds out that his mother is still alive. And it was just a case of writing and building the story. And then all of a sudden I was like, whoa, this is 212 pages. And I'm like, oh, it's like double the length of anything I've done before. But, I pruned it down and I got it down and it was 12 hours, 40 minutes. And then I thought, well, the second part surely won't be, as long as that. Surely. Famous
last words.
It's 285 pages and it's going to be about 17 hours long. I didn't mean to. And it only covers about 10 years of his life. So I don't know what I'm doing, to be honest. It's just a bit of a whirlwind tornado writing process and it just pops out the other end.
However, will you then condense all of that into a 2-hour film?
This is the challenge. I'm glad to say, I'm working on the movie adaptation for Shadows, which is the Val Lewton story, and
my favorite. By the way,
thank you very much.
My favorite series so far. Yeah,
thanks. That's really kind. The thing with Shadows was, every single Val Lewton biography is so slight. Like there's one, The Reality of Terror by Siegel, which is like, 120 pages or something. And most of it's just the movies. And then there's the Bansack biography, which is massive, but most of it's about, his effect on people like Scorsese and, Spielberg and everything, and Del Toro. It's not really about him. So went back to the source, basically, went to the Library of Congress, and my friend pulled all of these uncatalogued letters and diaries and everything that he'd written. And this stuff's never been seen before. And it was just so easy to look into these and find his voice and, find the way he spoke to people and then give him a soul for the first time. So I think that's why they've said, it's time now to do the Lewton movie. We can finally do this biopic.
Fuck, that guy's interesting.
The full interview actually spans 2 episodes, and we talked to him about old movies from 1939, and to hear him talk about Clark Gable and Mickey Rooney and whatnot, it's fantastic. It's definitely worth the listen. Part 1 and part 2 of the Adam Roach interview.
Yeah, it's very important that everyone go and listen to his podcast, both of them.
Yeah, if you're a movie fan, at all. Yeah, you want to add that to your podcast subscription list.
They're not like podcasts. They're like
long form documentaries,
like an audiobook.
Well, his Attaboy Clarence is more of a traditional sort of just like talk about old movies, but the Secret History of Hollywood podcast is documentary.
Yeah,
it's a documentary series.
Cary Grant we were talked about in that clip. Cary Grant, 12-hour podcast.
Yeah, it's all great. That's the that's the kicker. Is it's 12 hours, but it's all incredibly compelling and wonderfully produced and worth every minute that you listen to.
I will say my favorite of his from the Secret History of Hollywood podcast is the Warner Brothers.
Yeah,
Warner Brothers. Walt Disney's good, but the Warner Brothers is probably the best one.
The Warner Brothers one that's the one that's tied into the Blood and Bullets and Blood.
Yeah, I think so. Next on our best of. Next up here.
Well, we've done some deep diving of our own sometimes. I mean, clearly not as deep as Adam Roach goes on his podcast, but we decided to start doing some movie trivia because Jeff and I like to challenge each other with fun facts with movies on occasion. And we decided, let's turn it into a game. Let's invite some people on and play a game with them that we also called Switch the Envelope. And
because we're good at finding names.
We're good at naming things.
Exactly. So we named our quiz Switch the Envelope. And along this journey of inviting people on, we found some nice podcast friends. And the first ones we found was the guys from the Better Than Most Things podcast, Sean and Max. They were our guinea pigs, I guess.
They beta tested the game for us. And honestly, I would say that this episode was probably the most fun I've had during an episode because we kind of just went into this game and went crazy, and we had like instant chemistry with these guys. And the game was super fun, and it was kind of I don't know, it got weird, but in the best way.
We had fun. We had
a lot of fun.
And definitely go and check out the Better Than Most Things podcast. We have been on their show before. We did a Zack Snyder cut analysis when we were on their show. That was a great 4-hour watch, right, Corey?
They also have this really fun debate game that we got to play on their podcast too, where random things that you have to debate against each other get pulled out of a hat.
So here we go. This is the quiz game. Not just the quiz game. This is the lightning round of the quiz game.
Ooh, stakes are high.
In which I was the moderator asking Corey, Max, and Sean specific movie-related questions. Some of them actually were wrong because of maybe one word being off. Specifically, listen for the Die Hard question. Here you go. Here's us playing a game with the guys from the Better Than Most Things podcast. Question number 1. In the original Twilight Zone movie, an accident happened on the set that took the life of the actor Vic Morrow and 2 child actors. What was the accident?
Max. Wait, is that how I buzz in?
Yeah.
Oh, sure, Max.
Yeah,
okay, cool. I wasn't sure
you
to
said
buzz
your name
in.
before. We were just silent.
Cool. It was a helicopter accident.
Nice.
Ooh.
Max got it. Helicopter accident.
Damn, earning points.
Yeah.
2 points for Max.
He's now only 3 behind second place.
Thank God.
Hey.
Okay, question number 2. In the Mighty Ducks,
Fuck.
what is the real name of the team?
Corey.
What is the real... Corey.
District 12?
No. Anybody else?
Fuck. Max.
Max.
The Brave Ducks.
No.
I mean, I gotta guess. I mean, why not?
Okay, Sean.
Go ahead.
The Hurricanes.
No. It is District 5. District 5.
Oh, he was on the right track. Okay.
I went fucking Hunger Games for no reason.
Okay.
District 12.
District 12. Sorry.
All right. Question number 3. Get ready, guys.
5. Fuck.
Get ready. What is the name of the skyscraper in Die Hard?
Max.
Sean got it. Damn it.
Nakatomi Tower.
Oh.
Max.
Max.
Nakatomi Plaza.
Yes.
You. I know Die Hard. Like, remember the question? He's like, man, Die Hard. The one guy. Go somewhere else. Moonlighting. Like, God.
All right. I thought I buzzed in second. I didn't know we were going to buzz in again.
Kept buzzing again when somebody...
All right. Now I know.
Okay, this is a little more difficult. For what movie did Tom Hanks score his first Academy Award nomination?
Max.
Max?
I think Max.
I just said it. Apollo 13.
No. Anybody?
Are the rebuzzes?
On.
Sean.
I'm gonna say Saving Private Ryan.
No.
Corey, but Forrest Gump.
No.
Okay.
It was actually Big.
God, that's what I was thinking.
I was gonna say Big right then.
That's
Had to
early.
be earlier.
Yeah.
Had to be earlier.
Man.
I did not consider Big an Academy Award.
I know.
Right.
caliber, but
That
I thought
good. I love
it's
Big.
good.
I think that movie was crap. I hated that movie.
I like that movie.
Dude, that's
Oscar
childhood.
worthy.
That's childhood in a movie.
Oh, Corey, that was a good time right there.
We have a lot of fun with those guys, and I can't wait to do it again.
Yep. We'll have them on real soon.
Sure. Well, let's hope.
Let's hope.
Yeah.
Corey, one of my favorite podcasts to listen to is one called Zach to the Future.
Oh, that is the Saved by the Bell podcast, if I'm not mistaken.
It's with Dashiell. I think it's Dashiell Driscoll. I think that's his name. Is it?
Yes, sure. That
Sure.
sounds fine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Mr. MPG himself, Mark
Yeah.
Paul Gosselaar, one of the guys we've all men our age have looked up to. With the hair, he's got the hair.
He does, and
You
the
know?
phone.
And the phone, and he's got Bayside High under his wing.
It's basically everybody in our age category. In the early 40s. We all identify with the characters of Saved by the Bell as being sort of analogs for our own high school experiences.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Now, if we've ever had the opportunity to meet one of them on set, perhaps in their dressing room,
Sure.
when you're trying to get your autograph book signed while you are on set as a colleague,
Or,
Or-
a second tier colleague.
second-tier colleague, still you're working, you're getting paid, and you walk in to the dressing room, you're like, hey, yo, MPG, which is, I'm sure, how our next guest referred to him as when he was a little kid.
That's right. We did not interview Mark Paul Gosselaar.
Oh, yeah, that's true. We did not interview Mark Paul Gosselaar, but we did interview the kid that got his autograph.
Yeah, they got to meet Mark Paul Gosselaar. Yeah, we sat down with a acting friend of mine, Richard Martinez.
Hey, he's friends of mine, too.
Well,
I
now
sat
he's
down
friends
with
of
them.
yours.
All people on the Switch the Envelope show are now both of our collective friends.
If we've had an experience through this podcast with anybody, they're immediately best friends.
Thank you, Dick.
I mean, genuinely, I've enjoyed every experience we've had with these people. In a true heartfelt friendship.
Okay.
All right,
How political of you?
I don't need to
now,
oversell
move it
it.
on. Move it along. Move it along.
But we sat down with improv comedian, singer, actor, writer, Richard Martinez, and he told us a bunch of behind-the-scenes stories. His early acting career consisted of a lot of background work on like every 90s sitcom. And he was on the set of Saved by the Bell in the college years. When he actually got a chance to meet Mark Paul Gosselaar in his dressing room. And the story is hilarious.
Yeah, and he's also got a couple other ones, so enjoy. And,
Yeah, I think he talks about the nanny.
Yeah, he talks about
at some point
Fran Drescher.
meeting Fran Drescher. Is a really interesting conversation. We go into so many other things other than just his background work in the actual episode, so you should go and check that out as well.
The actual episode's a little heavy, but yeah, enjoy this one.
But it's real good.
I was on an episode of Saved by the Bell, the college years.
The best of the series, yeah.
Yeah, it really
Yeah.
was. It was the first season, and it was like their special Thanksgiving episode where they brought in a bunch of guest stars. And so the premise of the episode was they were bringing in like some homeless youth to have dinner at the college or whatever, and I was one of the homeless youth. And so again, little closet boy. Mark Paul Gosselaar, Mario Lopez, Jonathan Brandis, who you just mentioned, was a special guest on that episode, and he was one of the coolest people that I had a chance to interact with in that career of being a background artist. He invited the extras like up to his dressing room, and one of the other actors or guest actors on the show was Six from Blossom, Jenna Von Hoy.
Yeah.
And we were just like hanging out in the dressing room and just like talking about like the field and just cool things. And I remember thinking like, oh, this is a cool guy. This is a cool guy. So I did a lot of stuff, a lot of shows, and you just got a variety of different people. Some were really cool. Some were not. And you know, when the ones that were cool really stood out, you know?
Yeah, I bet.
And that's something that, I remember I was on an episode of The Nanny, and I was backstage, and there was like a script, like just hanging out backstage. So I would like picked it up and was just like flipping through it, waiting for my cue. And it turned out to be like Fran Drescher's script. And she came up behind me and she was like, "Oh, I need that." And I was like, "Oh my gosh, I'm so sorry." And she's like, "Oh no, I'll get you a script. Like I'll autograph it for you." And that, you know, and I was like, "Oh,
that's dope.
Cool, thank you." And like, she didn't have to, and she, you know, she's busy working right now, and she took the time to like go do that, which was, yeah, I really appreciated those moments, especially as a kid.
Yeah.
You know, like they didn't. No one has to be kind. No one has to be, and it's cool.
Right.
When you are.
You know, right now, Mark Paul Gosselaar is kind of having a renaissance. Did you ever have any interaction with him?
Mark Paul Gosselaar, he was one. I didn't get to talk to him very much, like during Saved by the Bell, but he was. I tried to get like everybody's autograph as much as I could. I had a little autograph book, and it was like the end of the day, and it was around Halloween, and I went to his, like, we were leaving. My mom was like, me and my mom were leaving, and we saw him in the dressing room. I was like, oh, let me like just go real quick and like ask. And he was, I believe, getting ready for like a Halloween party in like halfway like drag getup. I don't know what he was going as.
Yes.
He had like full like
That's
makeup
awesome.
on, no wig yet. But I remember thinking like, oh, this is cool. Like, and I wanted to like, because I was taking pictures with people too, and I wanted to like get that picture, but I knew the answer would probably be no.
Not without my wig. That's definitely how you want to meet every celebrity.
I would have loved to have that story
Oh man,
for the rest of my
you
life.
just catch them off guard while they're in their normal form.
Not necessarily in their, you know, while they're changing.
No,
but,
not
like,
changing, but like that he was just dressed in the weirdest costume ever. You know, the context of that is so great. Yeah, we loved listening to all of Richard's behind the scenes little stories that he had. That moment with Fran Drescher is so sweet. You know, that is it really puts faith in some of the people in Hollywood. You know, that they're not all pretentious egomaniacs, that some of them really are just really, really nice people.
I think it's time, Corey, for our last clip
Aw, there's so many more, Jeff.
of the show.
All right, well,
You know, though, there are so many more, and if you would like to go to those and listen to them, go ahead and go to switchtheenvelope.com. Check us out at Apple Podcasts at Switch the Envelope, or check us out on Spotify, Switch the Envelope. Check out all of our social media at switchtheenvelope.com on Instagram, or at Switch Envelope on Twitter.
nice plugs.
I wasn't plugging. I was just trying to.
yeah,
I was just giving out some information, man.
Supernatural. Yeah. No, yeah, all right, fine. If we have to choose a final one, let's choose one that has me singing in it. Really?
Okay, I like that.
Jeez.
I like that, Corey.
This is really not. I mean, I'm not like singing. I'm just doing a Randy Newman impersonation.
Exactly, but it's also one with our friends from the Measuring the Score podcast.
Yes.
We, as we said before, we like to talk and interact with some other podcasts, and sometimes we come across some real fun people, and we have a good, honest conversation, and it's just a good time.
And we laugh a lot.
And we say "and" a lot. So if we could say "and" any more times, then we will definitely get our name out there with combos.
We had a great time with Chris and Leslie from Measuring the Score, where we talked about scores for the first time on this on this podcast, believe it or not, the category of the Oscars that we discussed with them. And the topic
Being
of,
that we're both musicians, we have never talked about
I
scores
know
on
it's
here.
it's weird. We do have one other like music themed episode, but that's pretty much it. So we got to dive into a part of the Oscars that we don't ever really talk about, and it was so interesting because Chris actually scores movies. Like he has been paid to write music for movies. It was really interesting to get his perspective on all
Wait,
of it.
Corey, best score movie all time. Go.
Oh, best movie score of all time? So hard, Jeff.
Oh, come on. Best
mean,
one. You have one. Let's pretend that you're listening to records.
I mean, the
one record.
The one from this episode that won the Oscar, John Williams' Indiana Jones score, is pretty freaking epic.
Whatever. Okay, I'm going to say Pirates of the Caribbean.
Oh, dum dum da da dum dum da da. Don't edit this. Don't stop censoring me. Yeah, no, that's a great score. Agreed. So please enjoy. Word of warning. There are a few buzzer sounds. That is Jeff editing out my two spot on.
Corey is so good at doing Randy Newman. We had to actually edit them, so we did not get sued.
Jeff was afraid that the sound scrubbing software would pick that up, and the waveform would be so exact to Randy Newman that we might get sued. So
he is just too good. So here we go with Chris and Leslie from Measuring the Score podcast. We hope you enjoy this.
Minimalistic music. And Chris is like, well, this is a horror movie. He's like, I just want some minimalistic music in the background. I want the story to tell itself. And
so I basically had to go back and just scale everything back and just have like
a lone violin.
Yeah, one live violin playing one note, very, very low, and bass and everything else. And that was it.
I have a rule. If there's no oboe, it's no go. All right. So that's where I'm at with On Golden Pond.
Especially if you're going to do a movie that features ducks.
Exactly.
Come on.
You need a bassoon at least.
Yeah,
exactly. Because the bassoon was the duck in Peter and the Wolf.
Right.
So hello.
Contrabass in there somewhere.
Yeah. Right.
Could have had a contrabass when he goes flying through the
air. Movie number 4.
All right. Our next film, our penultimate film on the list here, Ragtime, composed by Randy Newman. I was telling Jeff before we started here too, like the little ragtime little riff would happen, and then I was just waiting for it to resolve. But and then I was just waiting for that the entire time.
That's a very good impression.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, it's great. It's almost spot on.
It's the only impression I really do 100% is Randy Newman, but he's not in hot demand. So, except for this particular episode.
This particular moment in time.
I mean, and all of his songs sound the same. You just rattle through all of his melodies and just splice together all of his.
Is that what Family Guy did when they were lost? They might have, yeah. Yeah, they were lost somewhere, and he just kept playing like.
I love it.
He just kept playing everything and just changing the.
Yeah,
it was
it's the same song over and over again, and really, this score is the same Randy Newman song over and over again. Really you're going to hear for another 3 decades.
That score would work in City Slickers.
Another mashup.
I think it would.
It might.
Another mashup.
And like,
horses.
What about Indiana Jones in Toy Story? Randy Newman as the person that scores Indiana Jones.
Yeah.
Yeah. You got a friend in me. Come on.
It's gonna roll. He's running away
Randy
from,
Newman
from
about
natives holding the the idol.
As he's running, they
just like the Nazis' faces are melting. You got me. I love it. All right. Does it work with the film? Like, does it match tone? And I think absolutely.
No, it should have been Danny Elfman doing this.
No, because he was Oingo Boingo at the time.
Yeah, that's true. Oh yeah, so Oingo Boingo should have done.
I think
this.
it's actually
Oingo
still
Boingo,
pre. I think this is pre Oingo Boingo. I think this is when he's in the band before Oingo Boingo.
In 80,
when they were like the Circus of Boingo Boingo or something.
No, it should have been Oingo Boingo and Randy Newman.
There we go.
I think my head just blew up.
Well, that concludes our trip down memory lane.
Yep, we're not going to give you any more. That's it.
Nope, you got to go subscribe on your favorite podcast app and, just scroll through the past episodes. Pick one at random. They're all great.
They're all awesome.
We hope that you've enjoyed our little trip down memory lane as we gear up for our 100th episode that should be dropping the next time an episode drops in your feed if you've just subscribed.
Yeah, there's some episodes out there that we didn't have a chance to get to. I mean, just some honorable mentions. We have the episode that we did with Curtis Anderson and Renee Bordelon that just dropped a couple of weeks ago.
So good.
That was a very good episode.
Yeah, we talked with them about indie films, and they are indie film producers and actors and stuff, and they had incredible insights, and Curtis can tell a story.
Such a great episode.
It was awesome.
We also want to mention our episode with the YouTuber Pentex. It was an episode where we went over the movie The Rock, in which we talk about his theory that the movie The Rock is just another James Bond film. It was a fantastic analysis of Bond films and all things Sean Connery. Wonderful episode. We really enjoyed it. Plus, he was in New Zealand, so, I mean, that was an interesting conversation. As for all the other 98 episodes, we wish we could show you all of them, but we can't do that in the short amount of time of this episode. So we thought we could give you... What, Corey? What could we give them?
Well, we wanted to give you a soupçon, right? Just a little taste.
Yes,
if you
there
haven't
you go.
heard, some of these episodes, some of them go back a little further in our history. If you've never listened to an episode, here's a little taste of some of the times that we've spent with some of our wonderful guests that have we've been so lucky to be able to have sat down with over the last couple years. And we hope to continue in these footsteps for more guests and more conversations and really more times. But honestly, Jeff, because everybody that we interact with becomes our best friend, just more friends.
And
That's
also,
all I'm looking
Corey,
for. I'm very
what we
lonely.
want to do... Before we hit our 100th episode, we want to say that the only reason we are here doing this is because we have so many of you out there listening. Our fan base has grown exponentially since we started this, and we are so happy that you're out there listening to us. Thank you so much. Corey every week comes on here and tells you that just to tell a friend and listen to us every week when we post these, and you are obviously doing that because we have had so much growth in our episodes and our shows, and we thank you for doing that.
Yes, absolutely. We set a new annual record this year for downloads, and we have you to thank. And there's really nothing more to it.
Thank you very much, everybody. And we are going to say goodbye right now after our dedication, because we haven't had one for a long time.
A dedication. Are we officially retiring this after 100 episodes?
Exactly.
100 episodes?
So we only have one more to do. So we have to officially dedicate this episode.
And all 99 episodes.
And all 99 episodes. We are going to dedicate this episode to the one, the only, the mustache, Mr. Sam motherfucking Elliott.
Sam Elliott, we love you. And if you ever want to come on the show, do it, please.
That should be our 100th episode.
Oh, how great would it be if our 100th episode was us
Sam
interviewing
Elliott.
Sam Elliott?
Okay, I'm calling up his agent right now.
Spoiler alert, switches. It's not. But if you out there know how we can get in touch with Sam Elliott, or if you can put us in touch with Sam Elliott, I'll buy you a T-shirt. I'll get you another one of those fucking yodeling pickles. Yeah. But anyway, go follow us on Instagram at Switch the Envelope or on or on Twitter at Switch Envelope. Of course, you can always go to switchtheenvelope.com for all your Switch the Envelope needs. When you're there, you can click on your favorite podcast subscription icon and hit subscribe where you listen to podcasts. Until next time, happy 100 episodes.
We're not there yet.
Almost.
The next one will be the 100th episode, Corey.
Thank you for coming along this journey.
This is just the best of.
Go see some movies. Go listen to our old episodes. And we'll see you later, Switches.
See you later, Switches. Switch the Envelope is a Riff Laugh production. Switch the Envelope is written by Jeff and Corey. Switch the Envelope is mixed by Jeff at Studio 85.
Switch the Envelope are the official, unofficial brand spokespersons for combos.